The school you see behind me is where many children begin their career. In this video, I'm going to show you under what condition more than half the children in Mozambique study in. This is a primary school that starts from grade 1 all the way to grade 7. And as you can see, there is no wall. So there's no wall surrounding the school. It's basically just in the open field, in an open field. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go inside these classrooms and show you how they study and what the conditions are inside. I've seen a couple of classrooms, and I noticed that many of them have desks inside. So at least they don't have to worry about desks. This starts from grade 1 all the way to grade 7, and I only see 6 classrooms. I don't know how they fit all the children from grade 1 all the way to grade 7 in only 6 classrooms. So I'm going to start with the first classroom. So this is how they organize the classroom. So there's a lot of desks. I think pretty much every single student fits in here, unless, because what I know in this country, classes have more than 80 students. Usually the numbers rise all the way up to 100. So it is possible that there could be more than just 80 students in just one classroom. And most of the windows are broken. You see, there are no windows in this classroom, so I don't. Oh, there really isn't any window. This classroom looks old, and at least the board is still okay. So they still do got a great use of the board, and they got plenty of space. Look at the ceiling. I bet this classroom is quite noisy when it rains or when there's a lot of birds. So I'm gonna move on to the next classroom. Okay, so pretty much the same thing. We see the same exact thing. And here they kind of organize the desk in a different way. So they kind of left some room between the desks. So we got plenty of room to walk through, unlike the other classroom. So I'm just gonna move on to the next classroom to see how the rest of them are. Okay, now this looks like it's a complete different school. Okay, I believe it's still being built, but I think it's being built for like more than, because like every single time I come here I see this, and since last year it's been like this. Nothing has changed. It's still the same. And you can check, look, there are no windows in this classroom, but we do have plenty of desks. I think we have more desks than we had in the 2 previous classrooms. We do have a board, and the board doesn't have a frame like the others did. And this one looks pretty old. It looks pretty, no, not pretty old, but it does look like it's already been used like for quite a while. And yeah, it seems to be a little tired. Under these conditions, it's not easy for you to have motivation to, study and dedicate yourself. It's really not easy, because look, I mean, especially during winter, you see, can you imagine like how cold this classroom is during winter? Can you imagine just by looking at this? Like there's literally no window around this, like not even one. So pretty much the wind always blows in. I reckon many of the children here don't have like proper garment to protect them from cold. So I believe that they really have a hard time with this. And look at this. So birds just come in whenever they want to, and they just like mess up the classroom. Look at this. This is all bird poop. Yeah, and so they have a lot of work when they come back. Because right now I heard that they're on vacation. This week they're not going to be having classes. This is probably the last class of holidays, and so they're not going to have any classes. When they come back, they're going to have a lot of work to get like done here in this class, pretty much all these classrooms. So I'm going to move on to the next, probably the last one, because I believe the others are pretty much the same. It's just going to repeat. So I don't want to waste, I don't want to waste my time, not your time either, just repeating the process. So I'm just gonna go to the last classroom. Okay, so like here, exactly after this classroom I was in, we have a store for broken desks. there's a lot of broken desks here. I don't know what happened for all these desks to be broken. I believe the children broke it because I know the children. I was once a child, and I used to be in a primary school, so I know the behavior children have in schools. They usually break everything, even the windows. If you saw any broken window, it's because the children broke them. So it's pretty common in like schools like these because there are pretty much no rules, and the school it does not offer proper security, and so pretty much children just do it and do. They don't care about anything because nothing motivates them to like just behave. Nothing motivates them. Okay, these. Oh, I was mistaken. I thought I saw only six classroom, but like I see I see four more classrooms than I thought. Right. So I did mention earlier that this school starts from grade 1 all the way up to grade 7. So how do I think that they fit all the children in the school? Because there's a lot of them, and knowing that also adults study in these schools. Yeah, that's our reality because many adults still in primary schools. More than 30%, no, more than half the adults as well study in primary school and in high school as well. So how do they fit students, all the students in here? So we got like shifts. So usually we have a morning shift, we got a noon or afternoon shift, and we have a evening shift. So that's how they divide the periods for every single student in schools. Usually every school in Mozambique, every public school, with the exception of private schools. Private schools did only work in one period, but these schools usually have shifts. They have like different periods. The first period being from 7 a.m. all the way to 12 p.m. and from 12 p.m. starts the second period all the way up to 5 p.m. and from 6 p.m. starts another shift all the way up to 10 p.m. Yeah, so that's how they organize the shifts. If you can see right there, there's a huge tree. So this tree, before these classrooms were enough, some students used to study under that tree, whether it was cold or hot. So they had no choice. They had to study under that tree over there. It's a really big tree. It's really huge. From this perspective of the phone, it might not seem as big, but like that thing is huge. I don't know, maybe there's a person under the tree, and maybe you can just like kind of estimate the size of the tree based on the person you can see under the tree. I don't know if you can see the person. Well, if you can't see the person, then that's how big the tree is. So like one thing I just noticed right now, I think there are classrooms being built here. More classrooms, yeah. So there are more classrooms being built, and this is good. This is it's pretty good because more space for more students, because there's a lot of students here, and so this having more classrooms is better for them. But I hope these classrooms are well built and offer better conditions for the children, because many children just get bored studying in these schools. They just kind of give up and they drop out of school. Many of them just like don't like staying inside classroom. They like ditching classes. I used to live this before. I wouldn't be the one doing this, but I had many classmates that would do that. Like they would not attend classes, which is pretty bad. And this is one of the reasons, and I mentioned in one of my previous videos, the one that I just linked up here, where many children in Mozambique drop out of school and they end up having a miserable life, from there on. And when they grow up, they just live in terrible conditions. They have to find like different ways to work, and because there is no it's really hard to find a life here. They end up just raising cattle, and farms, and it's really hard to like get money from farms and cattle here in Mozambique, because there is just not a lot of there's not a big market when it comes to that thing. So what happens, people just end up poor, and they end up having They end up becoming illiterate, and then they start making so many children, and they struggle to raise all the children that they made. And as a consequence, many of their children just don't go to school at all, and they end up like having to raise their parents' cattle, just like they did, and they just become more and more illiterate, and that's what induces premature pregnancy and early marriage. Those children who make it out of these schools are those who really are committed, and they have a purpose, a real purpose in life. So they know what they have. They know their duty. They know what they have to do, and they know where that's gonna take them. But those who really can't see the future, and it's not their fault, it's probably, I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know if I can blame I cannot blame their parents, nor can I blame their teachers. But this is what happens. So it's like this is a lack of education. So they're not educated, because a child cannot learn from their on their own, that how to be creative and how to things about life. They need someone to guide them. And so if they don't get that kind of guidance while they're still young, then it's over for them. That's what happens here. So I don't know. So make it clear, this doesn't happen to everyone or every school, but it does happen to most of the people in most of the schools. And as impossible as it may seem, I personally studied in a school exactly like this, and we used to sit on the floor. I experienced that kind of life, and we would also sit under trees and study under trees. So I really know how this is. Some of the livestock people raise are goats. You see, we got a goat right here. We have another one there, and we have another one next to me, which I'm not gonna turn my camera to record, otherwise they'll be suspicious. And people here have a lot of they have real problems with just small things. They don't trust everybody. So this is pretty much the end of another video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy it, please thumbs up and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more. So yeah, I'm gonna stop right here.